Hi, this is Mrs. Allen, and in this video we will be looking at two-dimensional figures. Okay, example 1, identifying polygons. Name each polygon by its number of sides, then classify it as convex or concave, and regular or irregular. Okay, so let's look at our picture here. This polygon, JKLMN, has 5 sides. So if it has 5 sides, we would name it a pentagon. Next, we want to decide if it would be convex or concave, and another way to remember that concave kind of caves in on itself. If line LM is extended, it would pass through the interior of the pentagon, so this pentagon would be concave. And finally, we would need to tell if it is regular or irregular. Since it is concave, the pentagon must be irregular. And we can tell that too because all of the sides aren't the same length and all of the angles are not the same measure. Okay, let's look at another picture. Polygon RSTUVW has 6 sides. So this will be classified as a hexagon. No lines containing the sides of the hexagon would pass through the interior. It's not caving in, so we would call this convex. And since it is convex and all sides and all angles are congruent, this would be a regular hexagon. Okay, example 2. Find perimeter and area. Gardening. A landscape designer is putting black plastic edging around a rectangular flower garden that has a length of 6.4 meters and a width of 5.7 meters. The edge is sold in 5-meter lengths. Find the perimeter of the garden and determine how much edging the designer should buy. So the first thing we want to do is pull up our perimeter formula. Since this is a rectangle, we're going to use the perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So if we look at our picture, our length is 6.4 and our width is 5.7. So we can just calculate this. 2 times 6.4 and 2 times 5.7. The perimeter would equal 12.8 plus 11.4, so our perimeter is 24.2. So the perimeter of the garden is 24.2 meters. The designer needs to buy 25 meters of edging or 5 pieces. Suppose the designer needs to know the area of the garden in order to plan where to place each plant. Find the area of the garden. So we need to pull up our area formula. Area equals length times width. And our length is 6.4, our width is 5.7. If we multiply those together, we get an area of 36.48 square meters. Okay, let's move on to example 3, a test example item. Bill wants to create a rectangular enclosure for his dog out of 84 feet of fencing. Which of the following shapes will have the greatest area? So to solve this problem, we are going to have to take each answer choice and find the area and see which one would be the greatest one. So if we look at choice A, a rectangle with a length of 26 and a width of 16, to find the area, we would just multiply the length times the width and we get an area of 416. So let's try B. We have a length of 30 and a width of 12, so if we multiply them together, we would get an area of 360. C is a square, so we would just want to multiply 21 times 21 and get an area of 441. And our last option, D, length of 24 and a width of 18, our area would be 432. So if we look at all of our areas, the one that would have the greatest area would be option C, the square, a length and width of 21. Okay, moving on to our last example. Example for perimeter and area on a coordinate plane. Coordinate geometry, find the perimeter and area of a triangle ABC if A is 2, 7, B is 5, 1, and C is negative 4, 1. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is plot my coordinates and make my triangle. And since I want to find the perimeter, I will need to find the distance on all of the sides of my triangle and then add them together. So the first one I'm going to do is I want to find the distance of AB. So I'm just going to use my distance formula. So I have 5 minus 2 squared plus 1 minus 7 squared, and that's going to give me the square root of 45 and roughly 6.7. Now I'm going to take my next side, BC, and here I could do the distance formula again. 5 minus a negative 4, which is really 5 plus 4 squared, plus 1 minus 1 squared would give me the square root of 81, which is 9. And if I didn't want to do the distance formula, I could just count, because this is on a straight line and not slanted, and get 9. Okay, and the final side is side AC, so I would have 2 minus a negative 4, which is really 2 plus 4, and 7 minus 1, and I could solve that, and I would get the square root of 72, which is about 8.5. So if I add all of my sides together, 6.7 plus 9 plus 8.5, my perimeter is 24.2 units. Okay, and I also want to find the area, so my area formula is 1/2 base times height. I already know my base because I can just count along the bottom, and my base was 9. Now my height, I will need to find my height from A down to my base CB, which is 6 units. So if I take 1/2 times 9 times 6, my area is 27 square units. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps you better understand two-dimensional figures. Thanks.